We meet Clif and Derek, who tell us they are going on a trip across the world for 1 year. They are throwing a party for their family and friends before departing for the trip and give us details. The trip will be covering 30 countries across 6 continents, and Derek is very excited for the trip. Derek traveled many places with his family and now, after working for 5 years, wants to take a break. Then Clif tells us he is a filmmaker and knows Derek from their high school and are best friends. They will shoot their entire travel and post it online for everyone to follow them and see their trip. Derek says there is no one better than Clif to go on this trip since he has seen his worst time also. All their friends cheer for them and bid them safe travels, and Derek's brother Jason calls him. Jason says their mom is worried for Derek since he recently fainted in his room and went to doctor. Derek says the doctor told him there are some tangled blood vessels in his brain and asked him to be careful on the trip. Derek tells his brother not to worry, and Clif is proud of Derek for going on this trip and being brave. They say goodbye to their families and leave for Spain and arrive in Barcelona and see their room. Clif is cleaning all camera equipment and shows Derek a special jacket he has made to shoot the trip. This jacket will help them place multiple cameras and shoot their trip from many angles. Later they start their trip and meet their 2 friends Zach and Edo, who are musicians who are here. Clif readies his jacket and puts all the cameras in it, and he shoots their adventures for 2 days. They visit clubs, post their vlog online, and do air dive, and Clif is happy to see Derek enjoying. On day 7 they arrive in Paris and all tease Derek that he should find a girl tonight at the club. Later at the club, Zach and Edo do their performance, and Clif tells Derek to talk to girls. Later we see Derek is talking to a beautiful girl and Clif sees them kissing each other. After the party, Clif says Derek has taken the girl back to their hotel room and Zach makes a plan. He says they should go to the hotel and disturb Derek and not let him have sex, and they all agree. They arrive at the hotel and go inside the room to find Derek is unconscious and is bleeding from his head. They wake Derek up and see he has been badly injured in his arm and ask what did the girl named Audrey do to him. Derek says they came in the room and Audrey hit him in the head and he doesn't remember anything. They see all her clothes and things are in the room only, and Derek decides to continue the trip without going to the hospital. Next day, Zach and Edo say goodbye to them, and Derek and Clif travel via train to Italy. They arrive in their room, and Derek goes to sleep as he is not feeling well, and Clif shoots his vlog. Everyone online is concerned about Derek's health, and Clif takes care of him. After sleeping of more than 1 day, Clif forcefully wakes up Derek and asks him to come outside. They go to a restaurant as Derek is feeling very hungry and see how beautiful the city is. When the food comes, Derek takes a bite and feels pain in his stomach and vomits all over the floor. Later, Clif says they should go to hospital, but Derek says the doctors might find something wrong in his brain and ask them to cancel the trip. Clif is not convinced, but they decide to continue their trip thinking Derek has food poisoning. Next day they visit a local winemaker, Bartolo, who owns the place and will show how wine is made. Bartolo takes them up the mountain and makes them meet his pet pig Judita and shows them where the grapes are grown. Suddenly Derek feels unwell and it seems his skin burning, and he runs from there and hides in house. Clif brings him some water, and Derek pours the water on himself and feels fine. At night, Clif talks to his audience and says he is scared for Derek and wants everyone to convince Derek to go back home. When Derek comes, Clif says they should see a doctor as Derek looks very sick and isn't eating also. Derek gets angry and punches the wall, which breaks it and hurts his hand, and they both get surprised. Clif asks him to break another wall piece, and Derek easily breaks it, and they decide to test this. They go outside to test Derek's strength, and he easily punches a big stone and breaks it down. They see Derek can easily lift a car and run faster than a scooter at over 40 miles an hour and feel happy. They think Derek has become superhero because of his brain condition, but suddenly he feels pain. Derek pulls his eye out and we see it has grown back again and is normal, and Derek feels hungry. He tries to eat food but feels like vomiting, and Jason is concerned about Derek and calls Clif. He says Derek isn't replying to him, and Clif says he doesn't listen to him also and is worried for him. Clif goes to Derek's room, who has climbed the ceiling, and scares him and says he is fine. Derek takes him outside and shows he is good and jumps to a building which is very high. Derek climbs another building and jumps from there but feels unwell and decides to go to hospital. On their way, they meet with an accident with a car which makes Derek angry and he hits the driver. He throws the driver and the passenger away using his strength, and we see the driver is bleeding. Derek licks the blood from his hand and goes away, and everyone online who saw the video talks about it. Clif goes to talk to Derek and they think Derek has become a vampire and Audrey did this to him. They decide not to post about this online till they figure something out, and Derek says he needs blood since he is hungry. Later, Clif brings some cow's blood for Derek from a butcher, but after drinking it, Derek feels unwell. He vomits the blood and says he needs fresh blood, and they go outside to capture some dogs. Clif says there are many people around, and it's not safe, so Derek decides to go to farm for Judith, a pig. He captures and kills the pig and drinks its blood but still vomits, which means he needs human blood. They decide to go to blood bank to steal some blood from there but are caught and run from there. Derek sees an ambulance coming and goes inside to get some blood, but is unable to kill a living person. They run from there, and Derek tells Clif to leave him and go, but he refuses, and they come to hotel. Later we see Derek is looking pale, and his eyes have changed, and he falls down and becomes unconscious. Clif sees many markings on his body, and he sees he has been unconscious for more than 11 hours. Derek can smell the blood in his hand, and Clif can't take him to hospital and decides to help him. When Derek wakes up, he asks Clif to get away, but Clif decides to feed him his blood from hand. He takes out some blood in a jar but sees Derek has escaped from the window and gone outside. Clif searches him outside and hears some noise coming from a house and goes inside to find Derek. He gives him his blood, but Derek attacks Clif and hits him and kills him and drinks all his blood. Later, Derek looks normal and realizes what he has done and cries and shoots himself in guilt. His head regrows and he becomes alive again, and Derek decides to bury Clif's body. He says he cannot be killed, so he needs a way to fix himself and decides to find Audrey. He feels Audrey might have a cure to his illness and decides to go back to Paris to find her. Next day, he decides to shoot his journey to honor Clif and decides to go out in day. He sees his hand burns when in sunlight and feels pain and hears the police come to his room. The police ask him about Clif and say they have video of them going in blood bank and in ambulance. They ask Derek to come with them, but Derek hits them and jumps from a window and runs. His skin burns as he runs in street, which scares the people around him, and the police chase him. They fire their gun and hurt Derek, but he manages to escape from there and hides in a cave. At night, Derek says he was just his camera with him, and his wallet and passport are at his hotel only. Next day, he catches a train and arrives in Paris and finds an abandoned house to hide. He sees everyone online is worried for them, and the police has issued warrants against Clif and him. While looking at the old videos, Derek notices that Audrey left her phone at the hotel, and he decides to find it. He goes to the hotel and asks the manager to look at lost things and finds Audrey's phone in a box. Outside the hotel, Derek meets his brother Jason, who has come there to bring him back and has brought police also. Derek gets scared and tells him to leave and runs outside to find police is waiting for him. He jumps on top of the building to escape and finds a policeman waiting at top and pushes him. He tries to save the police officer from falling but is unable to do so, and he falls and gets killed. Derek jumps to another building and escapes from there and later cries and feels sorry, saying it was an accident. He records a message for Jason saying he will come home soon and decides to message all numbers in Audrey's phone. He sends all messages and feels weak since he has not eaten and later receives a reply from one person. He calls the person to meet and follows him back to his home in an old building and enters his home. The person attacks Derek, but he manages to capture him and tie him to a chair and records a video. Derek finds the person is named Maurice and finds a weapon covered in blood and asks Audrey to come, or else he will kill him. He sees Maurice has some bite marks on his neck and body, and Maurice tells him Audrey choose him. He is sad and says Audrey choose Derek over him and has not converted anyone in 50 years, and she will come here to kill him. Suddenly the police find them and come in, but Derek attacks them but is shot by them. They think Derek is dead, but he gets up and kills the police brutally and even kills other officers and drinks their blood. He comes back home and gets a message from Audrey to meet him and goes to a house. He sets his camera and waits for her, and Audrey comes and attacks him and tells him not to hurt Maurice again. She says Derek needs to drink more blood in order to survive, but Derek asks her to cure him. She says there is no cure, and he gets angry and fights with her, but Audrey is more powerful than him. She throws his away and stabs him with a wooden stick and tells she made a mistake making him. She tells him he needs to feed himself every 4 to 5 days, otherwise he will change and become something worse, which will kill humans every day. If Derek does not eat, he will lose his humanity and tells he can choose whom to kill. Audrey says he choose Derek to convert because he was dying and felt kind towards him. She goes away from there, and on night 37th, Derek leaves a final message for his family and friends. He says he is sending this video so everyone understands what has happened and is sorry for his behavior. He has accepted his fate and wants to keep his family safe, so will stay away from them. We see he has captured a person and shows him a video where this person has raped a girl. He frees the person and hunts him down and kills him and drinks his blood. Later we see a group of friends who have come to Italy and enter a house to swim. One of the friends goes missing and the other 2 are attacked by someone and killed. We see Clif has attacked them and he has also changed into a vampire.